Hey guys, this is Dorosk and welcome back to another Minecraft video. You may be wondering, why is there a gigantic red F in front of my face? Well, it may not be for the reason you think it is. Today, StardustPrime and I
Hello.
are going to be taking you through our entire experience of factions. Because, trust me, a lot has happened to us since before this faction series that I'm doing right now.
Just a quick disclaimer, guys. We're going to be mentioning a few names in this video. We are not trying to target anyone. We are just talking about random people that we've met on the internet, both mean and nice. We're not trying to, hurt you on the internet or anything. We just think that since our faction experience is such a big part of how we experience Minecraft, we really want to just get together and talk about it. So, yeah.
So, the factions first started when I decided to check it out, and I created a faction called the Terminators, and I ended up working together with Boom Squad 67, if you remember him. It lasted for a while, and we had a lot of fun, but then another faction named Abyss popped up right next to us, and they dug into our base. So, you know, we were getting beaten up, but they couldn't open our doors, so we managed to block them off with a door, and they couldn't reach us. And Boom Squad was taunting them, and then he accidentally opened the door. Good job, Boom Squad. But he still managed to escape behind yet another door, and then somehow, I don't even know how, but they managed to break down the door with a kamikaze pig! Hashtag kamikaze pig. About a month later, Boom Squad and I decided to try again, so we created another faction called the Booty Squad. It was the best, and we mined diamonds, and we got cool stuff, but then we were raided by a certain couple of individuals, Sevcan8 and Awesome Rocks 112. But, you know, there was, it was fun. I mean, getting killed over and over. There was a lot of raging, but, yeah, that's Awesome Rocks. You don't rock. No. Now, the third faction we did, we had an ally named Salomiz, who took Boom Squad and I into his faction Ultima, and at the faction home we built this really epic tower, but then things started falling apart from within the faction as someone within our faction kept breaking into our house and stealing our stuff. And eventually, we were drawing the line when 17 diamonds were taken. But we didn't really need to worry about it that much more anyway, because a couple days later, Sev returned and burned the Ultimus faction to the ground. So yeah.
So now it's time to talk about my first faction, and my first faction was a little faction known by the name of, what was it called again?
Mine Cult.
Mine Cult. Well, Mine Cult was the name, but I mean, what was the name of the server?
Oh, the server. Well, we were going on a Mineplex faction server, and before you say that they were ripping off the name, it actually came before the minigame server, so yeah.
So there you have it. Don't accuse them of ripping anything off. But anyways, this was my introduction to factions. This was a very interesting experience for me because now I finally got to cooperate with Jake, Jack, Roscoe, all those guys, and it was really fun. And we called ourselves Mine Cult because one of our friends, the Lone Dollar, came up with the name, and we all really liked it. But here's the thing. As a faction, we had a lot of competition. The previously mentioned Sevcan7 was in PvP gods, and that was a certain group of people. They were just unbeatable. They had all the god armor. I mean, they were just so good. And Olympus was a close second because even though they didn't have that much of showing quality, they did have very large numbers, and they could have easily taken us over at any time. So what we decided to do, we decided to build underground so that we would be undetectable. But here's the thing. If you went onto the form for the website, you would actually notice that there was a map for this specific type of faction.
They used the Dyn map plugin.
And yeah, and we were using that map a lot. But then the others discovered about it, I don't know how, and they eventually found our base, and we totally got raided and owned. But then we tried again after all that hard work. I think we were working on that thing for like a month.
And we got raided and owned again.
Raided and owned again. That's all I have to say for it. And the reason I used the diamond sword was because there was, I mean, that's what they kept using to kill us. They were like full diamond enchanted armor, all that good stuff.
Yep, it's a pretty interesting looking diamond sword. So after about maybe the sixth faction destroyed, we were driven out of the Mindplex server. So we headed to another server called Devil Syndicate, and we did
And
pretty
oh
well.
boy,
We allied another player named Supersano69, and we had a lot of fun. We eventually joined his faction, and we had a pretty epic castle going. And we had a lot of diamonds because we swindled a hacker. So
yeah, the thing is, this Super Sono guy, I'm gonna tell you exactly how many diamonds he got. You see this big ass creation right here? Okay. In the comments, guesstimate how many, before like viewing more of this video, guesstimate how many diamonds there are. If you guesstimated 142 diamond blocks, you would be correct. But how many diamond blocks did we add? We had 3,464 diamond blocks. Like, that number is just so incomprehensible. Like, it was obvious we were with a hacker, but the fact that he was able to give us all this material was just great. Oh, and we also had to deal with a bunch of other people like Rodolfo. You want to talk about him for a second?
Yes. So eventually there was an argument that we were the only faction that rivaled the top faction on the server. We were doing well. So eventually arguments broke out, and we tried to stage a coup d'etat with invisibility potions. Didn't really work out well. But anyway, so they launched an attack on our server, and for once it was actually we were able to mount a legitimate defense. Well, I say legitimate as in we were ready for them and were waiting for them on the walls. It lasted for about 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, they first of all, you could tell they were hacking because when we saw them, they were completely invisible. They had diamond armor. They were shooting arrows that were equipped with TNT. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and we got owned. Speaking of people,
all I remember is just like this rush of still pictures of just running across the courtyard with flaming arrows flying at me, running into the chest room, grabbing the diamonds, and getting the hell out of Dodge.
yeah, and when they raided us, they said that our stuff was useless, which was just an insult. By the way, speaking of people that are completely overpowered, that will eventually come up in the next faction we'll talk about.
Now, the next faction was pretty unique. We were actually admins on this server because our contact Supersonic69 had been involved in the creation of it, and even though we weren't really working on the faction much, we were actually working on building the server. I still think we should tell this story since a lot of craziness happened. Griefers came on, destroyed spawn, and in the end, I ended up becoming the owner of the server somehow.
Yeah, wait, was that the same server with MondoCon, or is that the next one we're going to talk about?
Oh, I guess we went out of order.
Yeah, anyways, that's going to be the next one, but the only thing, the reason I did a potion for the one with Mondo Congo was because the server was all about PvP. I don't know how he did it, because even though he was kind of a douche, I will admit he was very good at PvP. So the reason I used a potion is because you guys know that potions make all the difference in PvP. And we were using a lot of potions in that server. We had like an entire alchemy set that was just, for making potions for combat. So that's why I made a potion.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the server that I was about to talk about with, where we were admins and had godly powers.
Okay, so you guys remember that, previously stated server with, Super Sono and Indian Jesus was another guy that was helping us? But anyways, they were able to contact someone named Sherry, and I kid you not, this was the first faction that we started. We had complete control. Most of the time we had admin powers. They didn't always give them to us. But we had a bunch of admin powers. We had our own shop, and it was awesome. But we weren't the owners. Sherry was the owner. And Sherry was a bit of a troll sometimes, but that doesn't matter, because at one point, Super Sono and Indian Jesus completely overthrew her. They made us the owners of the faction, and we had it all to ourselves. Admin power for days. Roscoe became the owner and all that. So we started making a shop for the place. We made spawn points, all that good stuff. And I swear, we made a store, a really awesome store. It took I would say
forever and a half
total. Oh, an hour and a half.
Forever and a half.
What?
It took forever and a half.
Yeah, I thought you said an hour and a half, and I was thinking it took way longer than an hour and a half. We made this really awesome ceiling. We basically had everything. You could sell and buy pretty much everything. But then guess what happens? We were making spawn points, and a bunch of other people were getting on, and they wanted admin powers to themselves. So I don't know how, but somehow they got admin powers, and they were trying to de-opt us over and over again. And at one point,
they couldn't de-opt me. I was still above them.
DeRosk because he was kind of the owner, but they eventually overthrew us somehow. And then Sano and Indian Jesus came back, and they turned the server into some kind of gun server, I think it was.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure.
That was basically the end. And it was a real disappointment because this was an awesome faction. We had it all to ourselves, and then it was just gone.
'Twas no more factions. So the next faction, we returned to Mineplex, and we contacted an ally of ours, Artemis Follower, and she led us into the Olympus faction, and I became an officer and all that. And we built our house at the faction home. But later we realized it was too risky, and we had already been broken into once. But the second time, we happened to be there while the thief tried to break in. What was his full name again? It was Marlon something.
Marlon 12, I think it was like 1288. It was a string of numbers. But anyways, Marlon came up to us, and he wanted to have a little fight with us.
He wanted to break into our house, but we caught him, and we had Artemis depromote him. But then she promoted him again, and then so he left our faction and tried to stab us in the back, but I happened to be wearing full iron at the time. Good timing, Marlon, and I killed him.
He wasn't even using a weapon. He was using his bare fists at the time. But oh wait, Marlon comes back, and this time he crafts the most OP weapon of all time.
A wooden sword! And when Stardust kills him, he accuses him of hacking.
Yes, just because I, in full iron, killed him, he accuses me of hacking. So guess what we do? We do the cruelest thing of all time. I took his wooden sword, and I named it something. Roscoe, tell them what I named it.
We named his sword Marlon's Dick.
Marlon's Dick. And we still have that wooden sword to this day. We still keep it in a chest and everything in the same server. We still own Marlon's Dick. We've been like praising it as the holy thing. So whenever we hope that one day he can come back on the server, and we can kill him with the sword, and it will say in the text box, "You just killed Marlon with Marlon's Dick."
Yeah, we enchanted it and gave it like sharpness and all that.
So this has forever become a relic in DeRosk faction history.
Marlon's Dick. And as we near the end of this video, we are at our current situation in Timeless PvP. And from here on, anything can happen. Our factions could get raided. In fact, in the next video, you will see some serious crap has happened. And thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, comment, and give that like button a noogie. Hope you come again. Thanks for watching.
It's been a really fun video, and thanks for watching.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.